The entire purpose of charting is to make nothing more than a binary decision. Is price going up or down? My friends, that's the bottom line. That's all we try to do here each and every day, is help you distill your abilities to be able to chart the markets, your favorite stocks, your favorite ETFs, those that we go over here every day, the big five. That is the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, 20-year bonds, gold, and Bitcoin, and determine, are they going up? Are they going down? It's literally that simple, and at the same time, that complicated. We make it easier with, of course, the charts that we use, and this latest chart that we are teaching you from, the 3 time frame chart, I think is the best. It is ultra simple. We always strive for simplicity. We've taught for years Occam's razor, which basically is the principle that that which is simplest is less likely to break, is going to function better and longer. But as Einstein added, make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. We have before you, of course, a trend line on our Heikin-Ashi candlesticks with volume to show us just what is going on. Now, as we look at the charts and as we got to the end of the week, we saw that volume for the week higher than last week, a little bit above average. The last time we saw that is when the market peaked. We saw it reached its high. And of course, we would call that, perhaps the end of the distribution phase. That is the selling. Now, it went on a little bit longer, but you saw that we had lower highs, candles got smaller, and then rolled over. Now, we've been held up for the last 2 weeks, as we've talked about on this 30-period moving average, exponential moving average. And what we see happening here is we see how we had this nice down week, and then we had this week. Now, as we zoom into this week and analyze what's up with the volume and I somehow switched. I meant to be, let me make sure I pulled up the right chart. There we go. I wanted you to have the weekly. There we are. We'll pull up the weekly. We can look at the 2-day too, but look at the weekly. Long wick on the bottom, little candlestick, high volume. And we even have some movement on the top. So what we have seen, of course, is the effort to push it down, push the price down, but the price has been shoved back up with lots of volume. So it's not staying down. Now that is indeed interesting. And down for the day 1.60%. Let's look at where we are on the 2-day chart. Now the 2-day has gone from 4 down candles with ever-increasing energy to just stopping right here. We almost have a doji here. Very little price movement, lots up, lots down, and of course everything contracted into this small amount of movement for Thursday and Friday. You can tell it's Thursday and Friday because the candle started on Thursday. And of course, less volume, but still for the size of this candle, again, it's telling you that something is going on. It could portend the end of this down move. Now, we still have a red as far as the candle goes on the weekly chart. But of course, the 2-day is telling us a lot. Let's look lastly, and we'll just use this, again for some analysis here, what's happened on the half day. Now you can see where things really peaked on volume on the red down candle beginning on Wednesday morning, followed by Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. But Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, things turned around with high volume. And then, of course, zoomed up in the morning and in the afternoon, piercing that weekly trend line, which is of some significance, in the afternoon. So we're going to pay attention as we jump into this next week to see what's going to happen. If we start off with a green candle, of course, price movement continues up. If it rolls back over on Monday, we, of course, would stay in a down move here if we hadn't hit our loss bands. But if we were in a, if we again, were looking to possibly change direction, then we'll let this next week direct us as to which way this market's going to go. But we do see some resistance here. We're either going to pierce it or bounce off it. So we'll be ready for that next week. What about the NASDAQ 100? Same thing to an even greater extent here. If we've got another doji on the 2-day, we've got strong up movement for a day and a half on the half day with lots of volume. And of course, increased volume this week with a smaller candle. Same kind of warning shots are being fired. We look at where we are. This is the weekly. Again, higher volume, smaller candle, movement on top and the bottom, showing you there is a push by the bulls to push this price up. We will see as we start this next week if, again, that relents and things move back down. If we look back in time, do we see anything like this where movement continued? A little bit, but again, it got all iffy, popped up a little bit and back down. Here's one at a beginning of a move. So again, I like to compare like charts to sort of see what we've seen in the past there. Here's a little trick here with these two. This will move you all the way back up. So you get back to the front. So anyway, we'll be watching very carefully on the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. If it gives us an opportunity to jump into an up trade, we will definitely do that. If you have your loss parameters set, which you're always supposed to have, and you hit those, then of course you pull out and you wait for the next move as markets settle out. But we have seen this 30 EMA giving us a floor, a seeming floor on more than one chart. What are we seeing with 20-year bonds? They were up for the day 2.42%, still heading down. We have a we have a spinning top forming here. Lots of increased volume. Again, lots of volume on Friday. So we see also after nice down moves, we just punched up and really went as high as we were back on Thursday, the 23rd. So pushing through, trying to push through that weekly trend line on the half-day chart, still below it on the 2-day, and of course still below it on the weekly with increased volume and a smaller candle, which again is a potential warning sign for us. Because think about it, volume should match the candle, right? I mean, if you have, increasing candle size, you would expect increasing volume. If the candle gets a little smaller, you would expect volume to decrease some. And it goes vice versa. If you see it both ways, if you don't see it matching, it's a potential warning sign that something isn't right. And it means any number of things. In fact, I've got a great training coming out. I plan on doing it this Sunday. Been working on it for the last several days, and it is adding volume analysis to your charts. And it's going to be a nice training for you about how to make more and more use of the volume that you see at the bottom. I think you'll find it to be a really good training. Look for that on Sunday. It'll be uploaded to YouTube, to chartingwealth.com. If you're a subscriber, it'll be sent out to you. I think you will get a lot from it. So that's where we are on bonds. We'll be also watching to see what they do after this big up day on Friday as we start the new week. Gold too, up 1.07%. Look at that. There's that 30-period EMA holding gold up too. You can see where the 2-day's blown through and the half day has blown through the weekly trend line. So we will again pay close attention to what happens with gold over the next week. I can't wait to get into an up move in gold, but of course you can see this volume is still right there on average. Now it doesn't mean it can't switch over. Sure did over here. You had a doji there when it switched, but this might be good enough. So we'll keep an eye on things and see what happens over the course of this next week. The big downer for the day, we talked about this yesterday. Where was Bitcoin going? Well, we could see that it was decelerating here on the half day and on the 2-day chart. And sure enough, it rolled over strong and ended the week up with a red down volume. And It's hard to even see what kind of candle that is. It's so small. Okay, spinning top, lots of down wick, a little bit of an up wick, but dropped through that half-ass trend line. Not much of a trend line. But again, what I mean by that is a very flat trend line. So again, we see Bitcoin moving down. Now that is okay. Again, we want to see some good movement back and forth that we can start tracking with some regularity. Hasn't really been doing that for us. We want to see it go from green to red for a while, back to green for a while, back to red for a while. And we want to be able to find good jumping in points and good exiting points, or at least moving up one ATR on the 2-day chart, like we talk about all the time. Those kinds of things are important so we can lock in some profits and then let the other half of our trade ride. So again, practice trade these things when you can, but when we don't see charts working, what are you learning? You're just literally gambling. That's not a good thing. You want to have reasons for what you do, and you want to make sure you document those reasons in your little trade notebook. That's important. My friends, thanks so much for being with us. This is where we've been this week, what we're looking for this next week. We so appreciate you being with us. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.